What's up, guys? Miss Pess here, back with another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes commentary video, and we're back with the Lord of Hunger marquee event, and this time we got a taste of Darth Nihilus. I was holding my breath a little bit because, sometimes a character looks really good on paper, and then they just turn out to be very, very, very underwhelming. Magma Trooper. Until now with Zeta and all that, but of course we already know that. Thanks, Arnold T-101. Magma Trooper the Forgotten. Darth Nihilus is actually pretty BA, guys. So his basic attack is Ceaseless Craving. It deals special damage to a target enemy and dispels all buffs on them. If any buffs were dispelled, reduce the cooldown of Drain Force by 1 turn. Drain Force deals special damage to all enemies with a 50% chance, doubled against debuffed enemies, to increase their cooldowns by 1. For each cooldown increased, reduce the cooldown of Annihilate by 1 turn. Annihilate instantly defeats the target enemy. That's right. Instagib. Nihilus gains max health equal to the target's max health. The defeated target can't be revived. This ability can't be evaded, and starts on cooldown. His leader ability, Lord of Hunger, Sith allies gain 60% offense and 150% health steal. That is with Zeta, however, the Zeta adds the additional 50% health steal. Sith allies lose all protection and gain that much max health. Sith allies are immune to healing effects that aren't health steal and can't score critical hits. Bye bye, Zeta Barris. This is actually a pretty neat leader ability, I'm not going to lie. His unique ability is Wound in the Force. At the start of each of his turns, Nihilus inflicts damage over time for 2 turns on a random enemy that does not have debuffs. If all enemies are debuffed, inflict damage over time to a random enemy. And with a Zeta upgrade, at the start of each enemy turn, Nihilus inflicts health down on them for 2 turns. That's actually a really nifty Zeta if you think about it, because as the enemy team is making their turns, they're inadvertently increasing the potency and effectiveness of Darth Nihilus' Drain Force ability. Now, I got a little bit carried away, a little excited on this first tier, and I thought, oh boy, I'm going to use all my Sith. But then I was like, wait a minute, this is the bottom tier. It's the early, easy, super easy tier. I want to put in some of my lower characters and have a little bit of fun. But I still threw in Darth Maul just because I'm working on him. He's only gear 8. But I also wanted to have a Sith on the team to kind of show that even though he has protection, with Darth Nihilus' leader ability, he no longer has a protection and he has a bigger health pool, which is cool. So right there, obviously, the first thing that they make you do is use one of his abilities, which I think is really cool, because it's basically guaranteeing that you're going to at least see that turn once if you've got like an overpowered level 85 all gear 11 team that's just gonna AoE one-shot everything on the team on the tier. So it's really cool. His basic being able to dispel taunts and buffs and everything else. However, I usually hate fighting Sun Fac for that one reason, so I have no doubt that I'm going to hate going up against Darth Nihilus because Shore Trooper, Baze, they're all pretty much useless against Darth Nihilus. So, any rate, on this tier you can see on that second engagement, I was able to use his Drain Force and reduce the cooldown of Annihilate, but I was one reduction away from being able to annihilate Krennic on the first tier. I was real excited about being able to do that, but I had to wait until the second tier. So I jumped into the second tier with the same squad that I went through the first tier with. Same thing I do on the other events. And this time I had to use Drain Force right off the bat. But if you recall, his basic ability, if you remove a buff, will reduce the cooldown of his Drain Force by 1 turn. Add on the other turn reduction for actually taking a turn to use his basic, and his Drain Force will be available on the next turn. So that's really cool. Unfortunately, Darth Maul decided to go on a little bit of a tear here and take care of all those enemies, so I decided, well, no point in using Drain Force against one debuffed enemy. we'll wait till the next engagement. So I did that, and I got stagger off on everybody. Darth Nihilus loved it, and I got 5 abilities to put on cooldown. Yeah. So, needless to say, Annihilate was prepped and ready for the 3rd engagement. And I am really glad I had Death Trooper to remove that taunt, because this, oh my gosh, the animation for Annihilate is incredible. Oh my gosh. I mean, I thought that Force Drain was a cool animation until I used his Annihilate. Man, they knocked Nihilus out of the park. Darth Nihilus animations are super awesome. He's actually a lot more fun to play than I thought he would be. I thought he would just be a lame, kind of gimmicky character with an instant kill ability, but he is way more fun to play than that. So, 3rd tier, of course, I brought out my fun guns. I brought out my Zader, EP, Sidious, Dooku, and Darth Maul to have a little bit of fun with an all Sith squad. Now, this is where the actual strategy of how you mod, how you gear, and how you even Zeta your characters really comes into play. For instance, if you use Darth Nihilus as your squad leader, you definitely don't want to be loading your squad with crit chance mods, because they're incapable of scoring critical strikes. So you also want to avoid loading your squad with crit damage mods as well, because same rule, nobody's going to score any critical strikes, so they're not going to gain any benefit from that critical damage. Now, the other thing, Zetas. I mentioned Zetas. Count Dooku's Zeta gives him 10% protection every time he counterattacks. Now, I do not know, and I cannot confirm, whether his counterattacks, will give him additional health, since he doesn't have any protection to be gained. Now, I would really like to know that he gets maybe an extra 10% health, because if all of his protection is turned into health, 10% of health plus protection is a whole heck of a lot more than 10% of just protection. So I will have to inquire onto whether Dooku's Zeta will still have any kind of effect under a Nihilus lead, because I actually kind of wanted to give Count Dooku a Zeta ability, because, I mean, come on, he's Count Dooku. He's one of my favorite characters in the game as far as mechanics and kit and everything else. So, on the last tier, I decided to swap out Darth Vader lead for Emperor Palpatine, just to see how much more health everybody had, and this was ridiculous. I mean, everybody gained all of that extra health, and holy moly, guys. I mean, you're looking at my Darth Maul over there, who is only gear 8 and is rocking a huge health pool. I was impressed. Like Backstreet and the whole wheel of cheese. I'm not even mad, I'm impressed. But at any rate, jokes aside, Nihilus is a lot of fun, guys. He is definitely one of those characters that I could see a lot of people having a very, very significant amount of success utilizing him in nearly every facet of the game. I mean, heck, I'll probably gear him up just so that I can, prep his Annihilate ability early on in Galactic War, just so that if I run into a wacky node 11 or 12 with a really, really annoying last squad, that I can just throw in Nihilus and instantly kill any character that I want to. So, I have read on Reddit and Facebook and a few other places that players who are as low as level 60s, low 60s, high 60s, are beating the 4th tier of this event simply because of Darth Nihilus. I mean, Nihilus is able to come in here and remove buffs, annihilate Krennic in one shot, and just rip these squads to shreds. So it's actually really cool. His Annihilate ability, I feel like, is pretty well balanced. Now, granted, we're coming up against squads of 6 and 7 characters in these battles, so Annihilate's cooldown is coming off very quickly. I think they did that on purpose so that people could actually get a feel for the ability. But I could go on for hours, guys, talking about Nihilus. He's awesome. I definitely plan on gearing him up. I don't think his gear requirements are that demanding, so I definitely try and get him at least to gear 8 just to throw him in on my Galactic War and have some more fun with him. I mean, his leader ability is really awesome, and it's definitely something you want to keep in mind when you're building a squad around him. You don't want to be putting him on a squad with dedicated healers, because all Sith only gain health through health steal effects. So that about does it for this video, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Like, favorite, subscribe. Check me out on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. Feel free to join my Discord server and we can talk some more about Darth Nihilus. And if you like the content, like my videos, feel free to check out my Patreon site and maybe think about becoming a patron.